Hello? Hello, hello? Did you see that transition? Here, I'll play it again. Wow. Looks pretty amazing. Let's play it again. Maybe again? Wow. Sorry, I was just taking a sip of water there. Yeah, I think it looks amazing. Thank you, Iku, for your hard work on that and getting the chat working right, and the just chatting screen actually is properly cropped now, and everything I think is working. I mean, I'll thank them too, but I think mostly. And oh my gosh, the just chatting screen looks so nice too. Maybe I need to move my... I should move my phone when I'm looking over there. There we go. That's a little better. I think the audio's sounding probably okay. I don't know. I had to redo my filters. I didn't really spend any amount of time on them, so hopefully they sound okay. Hopefully the levels are good, and all that. But yeah, it is Wednesday. We have our lovely new stream set up, which is also very lovely. And today is a wonderful day, I guess. Sure, let's go with that. Today was a long day. It's always a long day on Wednesday at the old spaghetti factory. I don't work at Old Spaghetti Factory. But I can't even say I call my work that because I've never called it that before. I'm gonna be calling it that from now on, and then I won't call it that ever again. Yeah, I just got home like a half hour ago, maybe less than a half hour ago. I laid down for like 5 minutes, and then I got up and set up stream. And now I'm here, and I'm ready to party. But I'm maybe a little more tired than usual, perhaps? I don't know, I'm always pretty freaking tired on Wednesday. I know Another VTuber I was talking to said that they I'm surprised I didn't fall asleep. I never sleep, even when I want to, even when I don't mean to. I nap sometimes, like when I don't mean to though. But another VTuber I was talking to said that they take caffeine pills before they stream. And I'm like, I don't want to do that, but it's kind of tempting. I mean, they're like a med student, so I guess that makes sense. Yeah, it's hard after. I tried to, on Wednesdays when I know I'm streaming, which is most Wednesdays now for the future and for the past couple weeks, I try to have tea in the afternoon, but I just drink like either green or black tea, which is not super high caffeine. And I try to also take vitamins in the afternoon, which kind of helps a little bit with energy. Like it's like a vitamin cocktail thing, right? Like it's a green juice, a green powder thing. I'm not sure if it helps me. They say that helps you focus and like be awake, but there's no studies behind it. It might just be waking me up because it tastes so nasty and that shocks me awake. But it helps a little bit, and then yeah, a little bit of tea. Tea doesn't help. But I think that's really my full rundown. How was everybody's day today? Did anyone have anything interesting happening this week or this day? Or I was just about to say or tomorrow. I guess you could be prepared for something interesting to happen tomorrow. And I'm just pulling up the forms too while I'm doing this. Oh, I just noticed I'll fix that later. I don't have the pop-out chat in my OBS anymore. I need to put that back in there. I'll just have it on YouTube for now. That's fine. Working on animation for the win. Nice. Being productive and working hard as usual. Yeah, something real quick. Okay. I am trying to this week. My main goal this week for this week's stream, today's stream, is to cut down my ums and uhs. So if I start doing those a lot, you can call me out and I'll pull them down. Hopefully. I'm working on it. Too much procrastination. Yeah, it's like the more work I have, the more I procrastinate. I was hurting last week because I had 2 really large commissions I was working on at the same time and my regular work. Doing what? Dang, I just said I just have 2 commissions. I can't talk about them because they're for agency stuff, so I can't talk about them. But one's a mix. I just said again. One's a mix and one's a composition for a BGM, which will come out not too long from now, I think. I think they're probably going to debut in the next couple months. But yeah, it's always cool to work on a new debut commission. It's always more fun. A lot more work too. Usually agencies always ask for a lot more. Hey Zephy, when did you say we were going to do our bunny suit collab stream? Never. But we can do a regular collab stream. We can do, dang it, I'm thinking about it. Okay, I'm stopping. We can play, have you heard of that game? I think it's called like, Would You Press the Button or something? Have you heard of that game, Swerve? Something like that. What's it called? Would you press the button? Will you press the button? No bunny suit stream. Don't listen to their gaslighting and they're lying. You're a liar. Among Us? No. It's the Will You Press the Button game here. Oh wait, I'm not on this. Here, I'll pull it up here. Ooh, here, look at this transition, Swerve. Wow. This game. Have you seen this game? Where it's like it gives you random prompts, like this one's, would you become the world's smartest man, but you don't know the difference between right and wrong and might become evil. Would you press that button? Yeah, I feel like this could be a fun collab stream idea. Or we could just watch crappy old brony videos. I'm gonna go back to the chatting screen. Look at this. Wow, look at this transition. Yeah, button game could be fun. Brony videos? Yeah. Let's watch what's that song? Let's roast Dawn Somewhere Productions Pony Waifu. Oh, I don't think I can play. I'll have to figure that out. I need to set up a source for audio for when I'm in the chatting screen from the browser. That's the problem for another time. But yeah, I think we can start. I don't know if anybody's here right now that submitted any music stuff, but wow, look at that transition. No, we're not listening to Tubby Pony. Get out of here. I'm axing that. Axing it a question. It looks like my latency is better. I'm on low latency YouTube right now. Next stream I'll try ultra low latency and see how that goes. It looks like I'm only like 3 or 4 seconds behind now. Best song. It's so bad. Pony Waifu is so bad. I don't know why that song caught on. It's so bad. And I'm allowed to say that because you said that they didn't pay you for a commission one time, right? Dawn Somewhere. So we're allowed to roast them. It's bad. It is bad in a good way. I know it's meant to be bad, right? It's not meant to be like good, but it's also pretty bad. It's like punk music. It's good. People like it because it's bad. I'm thinking of someone on my server. Oh, okay. Just taking some water. But yeah, we've got some submissions from people today on the old Discord. We've got our Greg has never done me wrong. Okay, then I won't roast them then. What was I just gonna say? Hey Ben, how's it going? Oh, yeah, we've done our customary 15 minutes of just waffling before every stream and not doing anything. Now we can look at music maybe. But Skelety, are you still here? There's something I wanted to show you if you are. Where is it? I want Isotope and I want RX. You're not here. Okay, good. So you mentioned privately to me a minute ago that you were having some issues with background noise in your microphone. So I want to show you a plugin as an option. It's called RX, Isotope RX. It's not that expensive, but it does cost money. I think, let's see how much RX costs right now. It goes on sale though. So RX, we want to look at Elements, which is their baby version. I think their producer version's like $600, their regular version's like $300, but their baby version is like $50, I would think. Oh, $1,000 for advanced? Holy moly. $400 for standard, $50 for Elements. RX post-production suite is $1,700. Ah, holy moly. So their Elements bundle has Repair Assistant, which is it's okay. Repair Assistant's okay. Static Dehum, which is fine. Declip, which I've never used Declip. I don't know how good it is. D-reverb, I've never used. I don't know how good it is. Dynamic D-hum, I never used it. Don't know how good it is. D-click, I've used. It's okay. You wouldn't need it though. But this is the one that's important right here. Voice denoise. So this is pretty much the best denoise plugin, I would say, on the market. There's others that are comparable, but this one's not that expensive for how good it is, and it's also just happens to be one of the best. Elements goes on sale every once in a while. I think you can sometimes get it for like 25 bucks, 20 bucks. And it's it's really good. So what the denoise, the voice denoise looks like, and you can put this into OBS, and what it will do is it will get rid of background noise. So, and it's so easy to use. It's like literally the easiest thing to use if you know what to do, and you don't really need to know much. So here's what it looks like. It's a little intimidating just to look at, right? You're like, oh, I may not be an audio person. I don't know what any of this stuff is. But here's how you set it up. You set your mic to your level that you want to have it and all that. You get everything set up how you want it. You want to uncheck adaptive mode. You want to press learn. And then you want to just, well, actually, wait, let me put a input on this so we can see it actually in action, kind of. I think right there, what am I? Should be in action. Maybe there's not enough static going on here. Let's see, do I have static? Can I throw static on here? Sure, let's throw this walkie-talkie static on here, just for the heck of it. So denoise should see this. Yeah, so just as an example of how it would work. So when you hit learn, what it will do, and you hit learn, and then you just sit there quietly. You don't say anything, you don't make any noise, you don't move. You just let it listen to the ambient sound of your room, okay? And then after that, once you do that for a couple seconds, you don't have to do it long, like literally like 2 or 3 seconds. You hit learn again to turn it off, and it will make a curve based on the ambience of your room, and then you're done. You're done. You literally don't have to do anything else, and it'll work from there. And so, I mean, you can even hear how much it reduced. So here's it without it, and this is a really exaggerated example, right? Your room, if your room is this loud, you've got issues. If your room sounds like this, but if I turn it on, it reduced it significantly. And if I were to also throw a little EQ on there, it's a lot less. I mean, this works a lot better with less extreme noises, obviously. But just as an example, this thing, it's really good. And again, to use it, all you do, you uncheck adaptive mode, you click learn, you let it learn, you click learn again to toggle it off, and then you're done. So that's the best option for getting rid of background noise. Yeah, if your room sounds like that, you got to start an industrial album. Yeah, if your room sounds like that, you live in a boiler room or something. So that's one thing. Also, you can, on the EQ, you want to throw on something called a high pass filter. So let's see, do I have an EQ that's kind of like the OBS EQ? The graphic EQ is kind of like the OBS EQ, I guess. The OBS EQ is 3 bands. It's a real piece of junk. But you want to look at the leftmost one. I don't know what it's tuned to on OBS, and lower that down, because the low frequencies are not really that important for the human voice, but there's a lot of low frequency background noise that exists, like the sound of fans, the sound of the road outside, resonating through the walls of your building, things like that. And that's not important for the frequencies that your voice lives in. Your voice really lives in, 1,000 kilohertz, or 1 kilohertz, I guess, not 1,000 kilohertz, 1 kilohertz for 8, to 500, a little bit in 250. But there's not a whole lot going on at 125. There's nothing going on at 63. There's nothing going on at 31. Anything under 80 I would say. You can safely completely cut if you're doing like narration, if you're just doing voice, because you don't really have anything in your voice below 80 hertz. So that's a second thing that can help with background noise. So the first thing was the denoiser from Isotope RX Elements. The second was proper EQ, and there's a lot more complexity to the EQ that is something that you kind of have to get into and learn. That can help with background noise to an extent. The third option, of course, is doing what you can, and this should be your first option, is to do what you can to minimize the background noise, right? If you can, turn off fans in your room. I have a HEPA filter. I usually turn it down. I actually didn't today. I forgot to turn it down, but it's not that loud. You probably can't really hear it. And I have Isotope RX denoise on, so you probably can't hear it at all. So that, I mean, that'll, and also getting close to your mic will help. You should be, streaming is tricky because you've got the aspect of your comfort that plays into it, and the aspect of streaming for long periods of time. So the comfort, your personal comfort's the most important factor, but you should have the microphone close to you. You should have it, the diaphragm of the microphone pointed directly at your mouth, right? Which I believe you have the blue snowball. The diaphragm of the blue snowball. Let's see if I can get a blue snowball like cross section. Cross section. That's the back. I want to see the front. Diaphragm. Capsule? Spelled capsule wrong. That kind of helps. So there's a little, this is what's inside your microphone, right? It's a little guy like this. So this will be in here. I don't know where it's located on the, I mean, I know it's where it's located, but I don't know exactly how they have it. It's probably right on this big, huge blue freaking logo. Just kind of weird because I feel like that's kind of blocking some of the sound. I don't know what they're, oh, here's the Yeti, the Yeti's diaphragms. You can tell because there's multiple of them because the Yeti's a multi-pattern microphone, right? So it's got multiple diaphragms here, which is why the Yeti's more expensive because it has multiple microphones in one microphone actually. And whereas the Snowball only has one. But, like this. Here's a perfect example. You want to angle the logo of the microphone at your lips. So don't do this. What this guy is doing right here, see how it's the logo of the microphone is pointing at his chest? It's pointing at his throat. It's pointing at his chest. You don't want that. You want it like this guy actually is a good example. Is see the logo of the microphone is pointed directly at his mouth, right? So this bad, this good. This will make it so you need less volume. And I mean, this is one of those things that seems really obvious, right? Like, oh yeah, point the microphone at your mouth. But you'd be surprised how many people don't do that and don't think to do that. And they're like, oh man, my microphone sounds so bad. And then they're like pointing it at their like hips. that's an exaggeration, but you can really see the difference here. Like this is a great example. He's pointing it at his lips. And that's what you need to do. So yeah, that's what you should do first is do what you can physically in your space to improve your sound. You're guilty. I mean, again, for streaming too, it's like, your comfort's the most important. But point your microphone diaphragm at your lips. Logo, the blue Snowball's got it really easy for you because the diaphragm, I'm pretty sure, is right behind the logo. In most other microphones, you can see you'll be able to see the diaphragm if you shine a light through your microphone. So like AKG C214 diaphragm. So I'll bring up my mic, not diagram, diaphragm. So, oh yeah, here, this is perfect. So this is what my microphone looks like. I feel like the blue Snowball catches the sound of my neighbors better than my voice. Yeah. Yeah, I can see that. It's hard out there. But see, this is perfect because you can see, this is how my microphone looks, but you can see a faint outline of the capsule right there, right? You can see it pretty good right here. if you shine a light at your microphone, you should be able to see your capsule in there. And then here's a little cross section. So here's the actual microphone of the microphone. This is what captures the sound. So when I position this, I want to make sure, let me look at it, and I can actually faintly see the gold of it right now. It's pointed at my mouth. I've got a pop filter in front of me, but the diaphragm is still pointed at my mouth. And it's a bit further than I would, like if I was recording like a narration vocal, I'd put it more closely in front of me and I would get closer to it, but I have to be able to have my model track, right? So I can't get an ideal placement for my mic because the model has to also track, which is another thing you have to consider. So yeah, number 1, do what you can physically to improve your space. 2, RX denoise. 3, a high pass filter is what it's called on EQ. High pass filter is like the technique. And 4 would be, I was just thinking of one. Oh, proper gain staging. So this gain staging is really hard to kind of explain. It's not complicated, but it's hard to express what it means and how it works. So when you're setting up a microphone, you want to make sure that every level of the gain levels of that microphone are healthy. Let me see if I'll pull up a diagram. Let's see. Microphone signal flow diagram. Let's see. Signal flow. Something like this looks, yeah, this is fine. If it'll let me. All right, here we go. So you want to make sure every level of what you're doing is healthy. So what that means is, 1, you want to make sure that your volume as a speaker is where it should be. You know, you can, if you need more gain, you can always project more, right? You can always talk louder. But there's only so much you can do with that, right? You don't want to strain yourself by speaking louder than is comfortable. You don't want to speak too quiet because your mic is peaking, right? But sometimes it helps to just think, oh, I should maybe project a little more. So that's the first level of gain stage. The second level is, so the sound comes from your mouth and it hits the microphone, okay? So a lot of microphones will have a pad on them, it's called. I don't know if the Snowball has one. It'll be a switch of some sort. I don't think the Snowball has anything on it. I think does the Yeti have one? Well, the Yeti has the Yeti has its own volume control, right? So here's a good example. Some USB microphones will have a volume control on them, right? XLR studio microphones almost never do. That's like something you almost never see, but some XLRs do. So you want to make sure this is healthy so what you want to avoid is having one thing really quiet and then one thing really loud. So you don't want to turn your microphone down and then boost it on your computer, right? And you don't want to have your microphone turned way up and then lower the gain on your computer, right? You want every level of the flow to be healthy. So you want to have the signal flow of for example, the Yeti, since it has its own volume control, you want this to be somewhere around the middle, right? Maybe a little bit more, a little bit less, but I would say keep it between, you set it at noon, like straight up and down, and then, give or take left 10 o'clock, right 3 o'clock, but don't go too far from the center so that the Blue Yeti has a healthy gain level, right? If you don't have a microphone that has a gain level, you might have a microphone that has a pad, AKG C214. I know mine does. And a pad is just a switch that will typically lower your gain. So here's what it looks like on my microphone. I've got this little switch on the side that says 0 dB or minus 20 dB. So if I switch, by default, I have it on 0 dB, which is kind of the default. But if I switch it to negative 20 dB, it will cut negative 20 decibels it will cut 20 decibels. It won't cut negative 20 decibels. It will cut 20 decibels out of the microphone's like pickup, right? So I would use this if I was recording something really, really loud, right? If I had my microphone on a guitar amp that was just peaking everything and blowing everything out of the water, I would click this little negative 20 dB button, and that would make that a more healthy gain stage level, right? Because again, you don't want to have something really high and then the next part of the gain stage really low. For voice, you would never want to engage a pad, I would say. I think that's a pretty comfortable statement I can make is, yeah, you never really want to engage a pad with your voice unless you're somebody who's constantly screaming extremely loud. Even then, you probably don't yell that loud that you need a pad, right? It's for drums, it's for guitar amps, it's for things like that. But you do want to make sure, you want to take a look over whatever microphone you have and make sure your pad is not engaged, right? You don't want it to be on when you don't want it to be on. So make sure it's set to 0, make sure it's set to normal. So that's your second level of your gain stage, is your microphone. Maybe your microphone has a fader, maybe it has a pad switch. The third level is the microphone preamp. None of us probably, besides like pretty hardcore music people, have a preamp, so don't worry about it. What most of us use is a digital to audio converter or an audio interface, which has a preamp in it, right? I said none of us are using a preamp. That's not exactly true because our interface has a preamp built in, but there are also external preamps that you can get. I'm not going to go over them too deeply just because this is a little more advanced and deep than we need to go, but there's things called preamps that you can, let me do rack mounted. You can buy preamps that will color your microphone in certain ways, do certain things to the sound that you may want, or, you know, right? So like when you go to a recording studio, they may have a whole rack of these, and all they are is something to catch the sound of your microphone. I'm trying to explain this in like a non-audio engineer way, but I mean, it boosts the signal of your microphone, right? So that it can be heard. But they all have kind of different like characters to them and different styles, but you don't need one because your audio interface, if you have an audio interface, will have preamps in it, right? So the first level of our gain stage is us, then the second is the mic, the third is the audio interface. If you have a USB microphone, you are obviously not using an audio interface because you're using the microphone itself has a built-in kind of interface, and it's sending the audio over a USB cable instead of an XLR cable, right? But if you had an audio interface, you would have a gain knob that your microphone channel is connected to. And again, you want to make sure this gain knob is healthy. So your mic is set, you don't have the pad, you're being a good volume. You want to speak into the microphone, listen to where it clips. In the Focusrite is a good example because it'll blink red when it's clipping. So you can drive it, give it a lot of juice, hear where it's clipping, visually see where it's clipping, and then you can kind of pull it back. Again, depending on your microphone, some microphones need a lot of gain to drive them, such as like the Shure SM7B needs a lot of gain because it's a dynamic microphone, and a lot of people will get an auxiliary piece of equipment called the Cloud Lifter, which all it does is introduces more gain into the signal flow, so that again you can have a healthy level. Because otherwise, for example, you may have to crank this up all the way. This knob here, you may have to crank it up to like 100% to get the volume you want out of your dynamic microphone. But again, you don't want that. You want things every level to be at a healthy volume. So in that case, you would introduce something into the signal flow chain to keep that integrity of that health of all that parts of the signal. I have this. You have the Focusrite or a Cloud Lifter? I have a Focusrite. I have this looks like the 3rd gen. Yeah, it says right here, 3rd gen. I have a 2nd gen. This is the newish. I think the 3rd gen's the newest one. Focusrite. Yeah, the Focusrite 2A2 is a good interface. People hate on it, but it's a good interface. It really is. For the price as well. People will hate on the Focusrite and then say that Neumann microphones are their favorite in the same sentence, which I find kind of ironic because Neumann made Focusrite. So a lot of people don't know that. I like Focusrite. I don't have issues. Some people have issues with the driver, which I understand. especially on PC. But since I switched to Mac, I've literally never had issues with my Focusrite. I had some issues with it when I was on PC, so that I understand. But that's more the problem with the digital part than it is with the interface itself. The interface itself is perfectly fine. But so we have our volume is level 1. The microphone's volume is level 2. The interface is level 3. If you don't have an interface, then you have you go straight to your computer, right? And that would be something like, you know, you have your audio settings on your computer, right? You have like maybe if you go into your audio settings, you might have like see, can I find a picture? Windows PC audio input settings, USB mic. I'm just throwing a bunch of words out there and seeing what I get. Yeah, it looks like this, right? This thing. So you want to go into your, I haven't used this in forever because I haven't used a PC in a generation. You want to make sure this is also at a healthy level. I don't know how much control. Oh yeah, so you have an input volume here, right? So if you're speaking into this and you notice it's way too quiet, it's like way down here. Well, let me zoom in. Then something's wrong with your chain. You need to boost your audio somewhere else, right? You need to boost it. You may not be able to if you're using a USB mic. This might be pretty much the only control you have. You probably have it like this and it's maxed out and you don't really have a whole lot of control. That's one of the major downsides of USB microphones is you have a major lack of control and power over the microphone itself. So it's probably just going to be you're going to have one option that's maximum. But if you find yourself peaking and clipping all the time on your USB microphone, it's distorting, it's way too loud, go to your computer's audio settings and lower your input volume a little bit, right? Lower it down to like this, maybe this mark, and see how that is, or this mark. You want, when you're speaking directly into your computer, for this level to be like 70 or 80% of the way, I would say. Yeah, your input level's small. There's not a whole lot you can do about that then in that case, because again, you don't have a lot of control. So you'll have to max this out, and then I don't know if are you using a gain filter. I think filter is what they're called in OBS, right? Yeah, filter. If you go into OBS and use filters, you can do something, it's just called gain, right? I have it on mine because the OBS's main fader is way too quiet. So I recommend to people to go into their microphone's filter in OBS and put a gain filter, right? You just hit plus and then you click gain. And then giving it a good amount. You can give it depends on your microphone, of course. I have mine set to 10. I could set mine even higher, actually. I probably should. I'm gonna redo all my audio settings this weekend, I think, because they're not great. My stream audio doesn't sound that great. And it could sound better. But I like to boost this up so that I have more control over let me pull this over. I have more control over this, right? Because right now, for example, see, I have it maxed out. I don't want the default of this to be maxed out. I want this to be like here so that I can give myself more if I need to, or give myself less if I need to. I don't want it to be all the way at the top because then I have no control. I want to be able to control it. So yeah, adding a gain plugin instead of trying to boost it on the mic level will help you. So yeah, so those are just my tips for getting some healthy audio. The easiest and most impactful thing you can do is honestly RX ozone, or not ozone, RX isotopes elements. $50. I think it goes on sale sometimes for $20 if you keep your eyes out. You can maybe even find like a coupon code for it somewhere if you look. I know $50 is not nothing, right? $50 is still $50, but it's very good and it will help you immediately. So yeah, that was my little lecture on getting good volume levels. If you have any questions on that, let me know. I would be happy to oblige. Take a sip of water. In the meantime, though, I don't think anybody who submitted that we haven't looked at already is here. In terms of the submissions people are doing. I know that Jay Jay's Pixel had submitted something, and he had mentioned that he'd watched the VOD on the last one. So unless anybody's here who wants me to bring up their submission from the submission form, I'm gonna go ahead and look at Jay's. Right now, I'm looking for him in the form. No, not him. Not him. Laffy, we did you last week. Where are you? Yiku, we did you last week. Mev, I don't know if we did Mev. Where is Jay? Tavern Cat. That's Ben. Other Ben. Oh, here we go. Here's Jay Pixel. So Jay submitted, what did he submit? I guess Jay Pixels, not Jay's Pixel. Kombucha? Composer. Composer, producer, mixer is. He wants me to take a look at the composition and mastering of his track. He sent me 3 files. Any comments? Little story. Okay, so I'll read his comments here. He says, little story. This was originally for a 30-second commission. Actually, let me pull it over so I can look straight ahead and have it on the screen at the same time. Little story. This was originally for a 30-second commission, but I forgot about the time limit, so I just went ahead and continued it for myself. I want to learn more about mixing, especially with making the instruments sound real and not MIDI. Okay. The reference they sent me for this is Amori and Undertale. Okay. That's why the piano is a bit distorted and bit crushed. We love a bit crusher here in this house. To copy the style of the reference they sent me, absolutely. By the way, the stems that I sent are only the ones that make up the main melody of the song. All the little details aren't included. Okay. Should have included all the little details. I'm going to pull up their thing and pull it into Logic. Lettuce, the vegetable. Logic. Here's Logic. Let's get rid of all this junk. Junk. All right, we've got our 3 audio files from them. Where did my pop-up go? There it is. Oh, he sent me MIDI. MIDI and the audio, looks like. Yeah, main MIDI, raw harmonica. Let's see if this is lined up how it should be real quick. I'm gonna lower this just so we can make sure the audio is at a good level. Okay, I think that's lined up. Okay, let's go ahead and give it a listen. Oops, my OBS just disappeared. Come back, OBS. I need you. All right, very nice. Let me double check. What did they want me to look at specifically? Oh, no, that out of here. There we go. Was it mixing or composition? Composition and mastering. Okay. I think you mean mixing when you say mastering. We'll kind of get into that a little later. So let's look at the MIDI real quick. It's gonna sound bad because Logic just auto assigned MIDI instruments for this. It made a guess based on the names. So it's gonna be all kind of funky. Yeah, it just gave a synth to that because it didn't really know what to do with it. Yeah, we probably won't really spend much time with the MIDI. We're more interested in the audio. So first off, the piano sounds great. The bit crusher sounds nice. Let me check something real quick. Yeah. There's a little bit around here that I think I don't like personally. This is a taste thing. But how the distortion is coloring 500, 555. Ooh, landed right on that. Here's it without it, with the EQ cutting it out. And then here's how it was originally. And then I'm gonna get rid of it now by putting my EQ back in. And I'll exaggerate it a little more so you can really hear it. And then back to normal. That's exaggerating it so much that it's getting rid of a lot of good stuff too, but it's this right here, right? Also, right here, I think. And like there are other frequencies that I like more, right? Like I like how 2K sounds. I like 4K. I don't want to get rid of too much of this kind of thing because this is what the bit crusher is doing, right? You know, you don't want to get rid of what makes the bit crusher the bit crusher. So here's without my EQ that I just did. And then I'm gonna engage it. I think it just sounds a tiny bit smoother. It needs a little more high though. Without and with. It's just a little more pleasant, I think. But this is just a flavor kind of, a taste kind of thing. But I think the piano sounds good. Whatever piano you used, probably just the default one of your program, which just for anybody who doesn't know, which is probably everybody, but Jay makes music on their iPad, which is pretty amazing. I'm pretty sure you are still making it on your iPad. You can tell me later if that's true. But yeah, they don't have a computer to do music on, really. I mean, I think they have a computer, but they do their music on their iPad, which is kind of crazy that they can make music that actually sounds good on an iPad. Really nice. I really like this cymbal riser right here that transitions. And you let it off really nicely into the next section. That's good. Strings are like one of the harder things to make sound realistic. And they're also one of the best things to practice on. I think I'm gonna have to pull out my keyboard maybe in a little bit. I'll see to pull it out and put it on my desk. I usually take it off my desk for streaming because I need the space. But I recommend listening to strings, obviously, but specifically to small ensemble strings, so quartets and stuff. And just listening to it, right? Let me see if I can find a good one. How does This Pokeball can, sure, whatever. Fine. Right, something like this. And take time to really listen. And I recommend quartets because you can hear all the parts, right? And you can pick them all out. This is kind of a not good, very good recording, so you can't really hear too much detail. I want to find like a studio quality recording. And listening to, maybe even taking out a sheet of paper and taking notes on what makes these instruments what they are, right? So the most important, so what Jay mentioned was he wanted to learn how to make MIDI sound more real. And in order to do that, you have to learn every instrument, not learn how to play, but you have to familiarize yourself with the instruments that you're using, study them, and learn what makes them that instrument, right? Every instrument has quirks and it has things that makes it unique in its own way. Picking those things out. So if you're going to write a violin part, listen to some violins, listen to how they act. So one thing I would bring up with the violin is with the pitch, it doesn't usually have just a solid pitch, right? The pitch will vibrato, which is, a vibrato means when a pitch kind of wavers, but in a pleasing way. Like a straight pitch would just be like ba, but a vibrato would be like ba, right? You can kind of hear it going up and down a little bit. Ba versus ba. I'm not a very good singer, so I can't vibrato very well, but hopefully you could kind of hear that. Violin's a vibrato monster, right? It eats that up and it vibratos for days. So you can, a lot of string libraries have things like vibrato built in. They'll do it intelligently. They'll kind of do it for you, but you can inform it a little more. Like I'll bring up Logic's default string, right? Which I wouldn't really use on a project, but it's a good example of like making it more human. Exactly. And in order to make it more human, you have to learn what they do, right? Logic's actually does not have a built-in vibrato fader. I thought it did, but what it does have, so, and also learning what these kinds of things mean, right? There's different instruments have different articulations to them, and learning what these all mean. So like, for example, sustain is going to be, all right, I'm gonna have to plug in my keyboard. All right, give me 5 seconds. Bang, bang, smack my keyboard onto the table on top of my, crushing a bunch of stuff, knocking stuff over. Also, while I'm here, I wasn't sure how much of that you would hear because of my, let me pull up Discord real quick. Let me see if Jay's actually online right now. I'll drop a message in Discord. No, they're offline. I'll drop a message anyways. I'll tag them. Okay, we're back. The keyboard is plugged in. There's violins. So this is the default. Oh, I have to bring my screen back up. This is the default Logic violin, right? So this is a good example because it's not very good, right? I have really expensive, really good string libraries. I'll give you a little example. So that is one thing to upgrade your MIDI is money, right? Spending more money. But I'm not going to use that as an option, but I'll just show you an example of like a very high quality one, like something like I like the one in Gypsy a lot, I think. Where's Gypsy? Where's Gypsy? Showing off. Yeah. My mom pays for this, my Composer Cloud subscription. She doesn't know, but she does. So all I'm doing is holding down a note. Like I'm just gonna hold down C and listen to what the program does. It's gonna listen to the volume, listen to the pitch, listen to how it just it has its own character to it. It kind of rose and it fell. Had a little vibrato there too. Actually, I think I like fast mod better. Also, this one has legato built in, which is when you click between two notes on a piano and you hit one without letting go of the previous one, right? So if I hold down C and then hit D while still, well, this one's polyphonic, so actually I have to hit C and then hit D, but let C off right after I hit D. Hear how it's bending into the next note, right? So that's doing that automatically. It's a legato. This legato is pretty simple. It's not that intelligent. But there are more complex ones. So yeah, you can always just buy better plugins. I'll pull up a Contact one. I always forget if I have Contact 6 or 7. Wait, I think I can just hit. I need to get rid of whichever one I don't actually have. If I just hit Contact, what'll it do? It'll crash my computer. Okay. I hate Contact with a passion. Let me hide my thing real quick. Okay, let's pull up maybe Contact 7. Contact is the industry standard sampler, by the way. And I hate it. It's trash. People use it because all the good third-party plugins are on it, but... Okay, I think Contact 7 is working. Okay, here's Contact 7. What am I looking at? Jesus Christ, this interface. I don't use Contact very often, but I do have some samplers in here. Sure. Pull it up for me, Contact. They updated this since last time I used it, so I'm not... Resamplers. God, please don't tell me this is the size that you're stuck on. Jeez, man. What year is it and I can't resize my window of this plugin? Unless I'm dumb, but I don't think I can. Yeah, this is the number one thing I hate about Contact is how you can't resize the window easily. Because this is awful. This is so tiny and terrible. Like, look at how big Opus is. Like, it takes up the whole screen. And look at this. If I can... Oh, come on, grab it. If I can do it. Grab it. Maybe the bottom corner. There we go. There we go, look. Wow. Ooh, advanced technology. Wow. I can resize the window. Look, it's like I can actually read these, right? I can actually like work with this stuff and read it and like... And if it's too big, I can make it smaller. And even at its smallest, it's still pretty big and nice and I can read it and I don't have to strain my eyes. Like, this is trash. There's probably a way to resize this, but I've looked it up and people said you can't because of how it's programmed. So I don't know. Maybe I'm dumb, but I hate it. This is too tiny. But anyways, Cinematic Studio Strings is a very nice string plugin. Also pretty expensive, couple $100. That's a pretty intense legato there. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to incorporate the modulation wheel into what I'm doing. I wish I had a hand cam so I can show you, but on most bigger MIDI keyboards, like 47 keys and above, and on some small ones too, there's something called a modulation wheel. And I will pull up a picture of it, actually. I'm using, what is my keyboard? What the heck is this thing? Novation Impulse? So, what's your Novation Impulse? It's got a knob. It's got a knob right here. If I could, come on, come here. So you can see right here, there's two knobs, right? One of them is a pitch bend, which does this. Very fun. But you can use this very minorly and subtly for things like vibrato, like I mentioned. I'll exaggerate it so you can really hear it, but now I'll do it one more subtle. And you can use it for transitioning between notes as well. It sounds pretty ugly, but you could do that prettier. And you can also do it actually as a composition part, right? You can hold out a note and then pitch it down. So I was just holding one note right there, right? My finger was only on the C. And I was just using the knob. Honestly, not that useful though, in my opinion. But what you've got next to it is the expression knob. And this is the most important thing for string programming, because or not expression mod, it's called the modulation mod. The modulation mod, yeah, the modulation wheel. Most string libraries have their modulation wheel by default programmed to volume, like a expressive volume thing, right? So I'll show you an example of what I mean by that. Is CSS not? Oh, it's because I'm not on CSS, I'm on the other one. Oh, and perfect. You can actually see, if you look right here, you can see the knob moving. So I'm not touching it with my mouse, I'm touching it on my keyboard and I'm moving it. And I'm also actually going to change to cello, because cellos are better than violins. Now, is this going to add the cello to the flow, or is this going to replace my violin? I think it'll replace the violin. I think if you double clicked in the past, it would add it. Okay, it replaced it. Okay, cool. So, an important part about strings, and I'll bring back up my reference of string quartet. Actually, let's do a string solo. Cello solo. Yo-yo ma. We love a yo-yo ma in this house, but let's do what's the song I'm thinking of? It's called The Swan. Let's do The Swan. I think, is it called The Swan? Maybe. Yeah, Saison, The Swan. Perfect. Not a great recording, but... And you can clearly see the heavy vibrato he's doing. See how he's moving his hands so much? So, okay, I want us to look at this, what he just did right there. This is probably the most important part of making MIDI strings sound more realistic. Okay, listen here. Not the vibrato. So maybe, hands up, anybody want to guess what it was? It's the volume. It's the volume modulation of the string. So listen to how when it goes quiet and then it goes loud and then it goes quiet and then it kind of has subtle, hey vomits Remy. But listen to the expressive volume of the cello. right? He started quiet, he built. So that's really important because your string sampler will probably, depending on how advanced it is, will do vibrato automatically. It'll do legato automatically, and it might even do expressive volume automatically. But you want to control expressive volume, so I'll play just like a scale, or no, I'll just make up a melody. Something like, is this a solo? I want a solo cello, not a ensemble cello. Does this have solo cello? Cellos. No. Their solo is a different library that costs an additional $300. Forte fortissimo the whole way. No. How do I get it back up? Like I said, I haven't used Contact since they updated it. God, this interface is so bad. I could be dumb, but this interface is bad. So I'm gonna play like something. Let's see, I'm having a little bit of a different trigger. Why is it doing that? I want to set it. Okay, here we go. Yeah, this is better. I'll play something else. So that sounded pretty good because this is a nice, expensive plugin, but I didn't use the modulation wheel at all there. So let's use it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start low. You can see what I'm doing by looking at this tiny little knob here. I wish I could make it better, but Contact is trash. I'm going to add a little more human expression to this. So hear how there was a lot more volume variation and it sounded a lot more authentic. With strings, a lot of times I'll start low and I will kind of ease it in, right? And then when I hit the peak of the line, I'll bring it back down. So like, so volume modulation is huge. Most libraries will have your big knob, which is MIDI CC1, which what that means is on your programs, you'll have, let me see, I'll pull up a visual of it. You have things called MIDI CC, which stands for MIDI control. What does it sound for? MIDI CC. MIDI continuous controller. And what it is a code that was set up by the MIDI Association. That is a standard that everyone kind of adopted, right? The MIDI Association set it up, and then all the manufacturers and stuff were like, okay, we'll follow this code. It's a way to look at CC. I'm kind of having a blank right now. I can automate it by looking at it, I think. Right, okay, yeah, so here we go. So here, there's 127 MIDI CCs, which means there's 127 potential controls linked to MIDI. A lot of them are standard, and they'll kind of be the same on everything. So, like, for example, 120 is typically all sounds off, which means if you have a knob or a button or some sort of control on your keyboard or whatever you're using, it'll usually be set to, if you go to channel 120 of the MIDI CC, it'll do all sounds off, right? And there are standards like, you can see the 84 is portamento control. That's like a standard. 73 is attack time, right? Different plugins will do different things sometimes, but there's a general standard that they will at least loosely follow. One is always modulation, and modulation is that big knob thing that we saw. And it is usually tied to a volume, right? of some sort. And then pitch bend, which is the other big knob, is usually, what is pitch bend? We should see it here. Where's pitch bend? Or is pitch bend not a CC? No, pitch bend's got to be a CC. I don't remember what pitch bend's on. It's somewhere. 120, my TV doesn't go that high. Who has channels on their TV? Come on. So, you don't have cable. Get rid of that. So modulation is the knob, and you usually want to use that. But if you're in the case of, like I have with Opus, Opus doesn't use modulation for all of their stuff. So I think, if I go to play, oh, I'm on play. Wish I could show you my, okay, you'll just have to take my word for it. So I'm gonna play, and I'm gonna be messing with the modulation knob, okay? See how it's the same volume, right? So the modulation isn't linked to volume on this plugin, right? But if you have that case, you've got a backup which you can use, which is going to be MIDI CC11, okay? So what I've done on my keyboard is I have faders. Let me pull up a picture of it. If you don't have modulation, you will have expression that you can use instead. An expression is going to be MIDI CC11, okay? And let me pull it up. This is a little confusing potentially, I know, but I don't know. Good luck. Let me know if you get lost. So here's a mod wheel, but I've got this problem of my mod wheel doesn't do anything on Opus, right? On this Opus plugin I'm using. So what I have instead is what I will use is I went into my MIDI controller settings, and I actually had one called where is this? What do they call this? Let me get out of here. I'm messing with my keyboard right now. Zone. So I can change the modes kind of on this, and if I change it to number 3, which I know that doesn't mean anything to you, but on mine, if I go to number 3, what it will do is it'll put MIDI CC11 onto this fader right here, right? Normally this fader controls a volume fader on my keyboard or on my program, right? So if I click this button that says mixer right here, it will control my mixer, right? And you can see here this knob is moving without me touching it because I'm physically touching the fader on my keyboard. But if I click the button under it, it'll change it to a MIDI CC value, and it will change it to MIDI CC11. And MIDI CC11 works very similar to modulation if you have modulation. And it's again, it's a volume thing. So again, modulation doesn't work on Opus, but let's check out expression. Expression does work. So I'm hitting this first fader that you could see here. I'm using this instead to control my volume instead of this, right? So try CC1 first, which is modulation. It should be defaultly already programmed to that on your MIDI keyboard. If not, try and figure out how you can link to MIDI CC11 if you have a fader or a controller. You can, a lot of times if you go deep into your program, you can kind of change these things and mess with them. It's a little advanced, but and it depends on what you're using, what the keyboard is, what the program is, so I'm not going to go into it because it won't be useful. But on mine, I have it programmed, so if I don't have modulation, I have CC11, which is important because it's this kind of ability to do volume changes is extremely important for strings. I'll do a scale. So that was with me using the expression fader. Now I'm going to just do it straight. You get the picture, right? From this, oops, that was my bad. This. So that's how you make, that's an important thing about strings specifically, right? And which is all a long roundabout way of saying, hey, listen, you've got some strings in your song. So if we hear, what we hear is, what note was that? So you're kind of just, it's kind of the same. What's the favorite instrument you like to use in your songs? I'm a big fan of writing in cello. I think it just sounds nice. It's a nice instrument. So if we hear that there's no modulation. It's just going, I'm going to go back to using what I said at the beginning and then didn't do. I'm going to go back to using the crappy Logic one. Right? Doesn't sound as good. You can make this sound good though. It's not a bad thing. And again, this Logic one has the same issue of the modulation wheel does not work. But let's see if expression does. Oh, expression does not. If I turn on dynamics via control, does that work? Oh yeah. If I hit this, it makes modulation work. But let's hear the difference between this and actually let me put a tiny bit of reverb on this because it sounds really bad. And a little bit of reverb will make it sound a little better. Let's do a hall. Let's do a long vocal, sure. Wow, already sounds so much better. But so yeah, so that's how you have it. But let's try it with a little bit of modulation. Oop. And one kind of interesting thing to point out is learning the modulation kind of like character and how it's programmed and how it works and in how your sampler acts is like learning a new instrument, right? So you have to kind of practice it and learn it and learn the quirks of your different programs and get better at it. Like I'm not very good at being expressive in Logic Studio Strings. I'm better at being expressive in Opus. I'm better at being expressive in Contact. But I haven't done it in a while, so I'm pretty rusty. But even this, you're going to hear a difference. I'm going to try and play along with this with modulation. And let's see. You can't really hear. You can't really hear my part because there's the other one there playing. But actually, what I'm going to do too is I'm going to increase the attack time because I want it to if I increase the attack time, it'll kind of build into the note, right? So here's with 0. Actually, well, I'll just do 3 notes. And then I'm gonna turn it way up. Not that much. Not that much. So if you hear it kind of, it starts a little quiet. It starts quieter and builds into the note a little automatically just by increasing the attack time. Right. And I'm also going to change... No, I'm going to keep it at sustain. Just because I think that's what you use for yours. So let's try now with modulation. Yeah, that sounds bad. So I think that sounds a little bit better, right? And if I practice it a little more, I can get it even better. Let's try it on viola also, instead of violin. Also, let me lower the gain of it so I can be a little more. So yeah, modulation was going to help your strings be more expressive. Actually, let me do it on Contact also so you can see, you have a visual of the modulation wheel. What I like to do with strings is right when I hit the note, I like to bring it down. I'm kind of I am very much exaggerating it there, so you can kind of hear what I'm doing, right? I like to dip it down, right? And I'll do it a little more naturally. Right? So that's one thing, is modulation, and also, so yours has built-in vibrato, right? So you don't have to worry too much about like messing with pitch bend modulation or something to get vibrato. Almost every string program you're going to use has some sort of built-in vibrato because it sounds funky without it. Do they have like a... No, they don't. What about violin 1? No, they don't have an expressive mode on this. What about with cello? No. So yeah, modulation is your friend. Let's see what else. Especially right here when you've got that long note. I want to hear it more like... Okay, there it is. I'm performing this pretty badly because, like I said, I'm really rusty. Not that one. So you're being more expressive with the volume of it, right? Instead of just going... See, it's the same volume the whole way. Fading, right? Oops, I don't want that. Yeah, I don't want that either. So one thing too here, if you listen to the faster notes, so you're plugging it, the attack is too long for those notes to sound natural, right? You've got... Oh, this one behaves weird. It makes the first note really quiet. But if I do it on a different octave. No, this one just behaves very differently from yours. But so you have a pretty long attack on your thing, and when you go to the faster notes, it's too long to kind of catch up. The notes are still building up when it's happening, so like if I were to like lower my attack time. So you might want to like try and modulate it so just on that spot when you do the... Because hear how this sounds different from this. This one's not a very good example because this behaves weird. But it's taking time to build the note, and you're playing faster notes, right? Pen pressure, yeah, different pens, exactly. And so things like modulation are your friend. You can do something like, in this case, I would go into the modulator, whichever your program probably has, I don't know, and I can draw in these control parameters, right? So I could look through here and I can find attack. And right, so it's like I know, okay, it's gonna be more expressive here, so I'm gonna have a higher attack. But then like when it gets to this faster part, I'm gonna make the attack longer or slower or quicker. There we go. Longer, slower, quicker. So let's kind of look at what that does. So I muted it and soloed it at the same time. Hey Jay, welcome. We're talking about your piece still. So I've got a longer attack here. That's not very, you can't really hear it very well. Man, that's not a very good example, is it? Let me exaggerate it. So this was a really long attack, then you can't even hear it. It's taking so long to attack. So it almost sounds like it's a bit behind now versus so. So now this is fast attack, right? And now it's coming longer. See how it almost feels like it's falling behind a bit? So which is all just to say, be wary of what your attack times are set up to. And just to review what, I'm actually at work right now, but got to tune in. Yeah, you can, the VOD will be up. So you're welcome to check out the VOD later. But let me know if you have any specific questions. Don't let me distract you from your work. Because I'm talking about pretty general stuff that hopefully other people can kind of find interesting as well. But what attack means is how long it takes for the note to reach its kind of comfortable volume, right? So yeah, when you have a high attack and you switch to faster notes, it could sound a little funky. But what you can also do is change the articulation, right? So sustain is your long notes, right, on strings, but you also have staccato, which is obviously your short notes, which are going to be 2, and spiccato, which are even shorter. But they don't have anything in this plugin that I can really use. Sections, do they have anything? All they've got is sustain or staccato, and let me pull up this one. Well, it's a good one with lots of Hollywood Cinematic Symphonic Orchestra Gold, Silver. I mean, sure, gold. No, it's gold. Golden cello. Solo cello. I want key switch. Give me key switch. These are all shorts. Did I click shorts? Key switch short. I did click shorts, clearly. When you make a song, do you start with the mood you want to convey or out of convey or question? Oh, sorry, the heart was in the way. I need to get rid of the heart on my screen. It's different for every song, right? It depends on the goal. It depends on the mood. Man, these key switches don't do anything. They do a little. They change a little bit. Which is the point I'm trying to make is it depending on your program, it might have different articulations that sound better for different speeds of the notes, right? You may not, you probably don't want to switch to staccato right here, right? Or those fast notes. Like you wouldn't want those to be staccato, that would sound weird. But there are sometimes faster articulations you can quickly swap to for that kind of thing. And back to your question, Skelly T. Yeah, it's different. It depends on the vibe. I've kind of spent a lot of time composing pretty formulaically, and I'm trying to get away from that, from having a set workflow and instead doing more experimentation, because I mean, with the whole AI thing, this is kind of a weird topic, but my goal used to be was I want to be able to sit down at any time in any mood and to crank out a song, right? That's become less of my goal because now AI can do that, right? So I'm like, I don't see as much value in that kind of workflow of being able to be like what in my mind would have been a professional composer, somebody who can always write all the time. and have a set workflow of like, this is how I'm going to write a song. This is how I'm going to structure it every time. Now I'm like, well, AI is going to be able to do that faster and better than any human can before long. So I'm trying to just be more ethereal. I don't know, that's a bad word. Ephemeral with my workflow. But which is to say, yeah, I it depends. A lot of times sometimes I'll start with a melody. When I start with a melody, it's usually a melody that I've decided on before I even sit down. It's a melody that's come to my head when I was out for a walk, when I was in the shower. Those are usually when melodies come to me, right? Those two times. And then I'll hum it into my phone. I'll put it in storage, which this is a thing that almost every composer is going to tell you that they do, is melodies will just come to them and then they'll just record them and never look at them again. But sometimes they will. Sometimes they'll bring them up and actually use them. And a lot of times those are your best melodies. So sometimes I'll start with a melody like that. Sometimes I'll just sit down and I'll just noodle. Not like that, but I'll just... and just mess with something, and maybe eventually after I noodle for a couple minutes, something will come out, melody will come out. And then from there you build up the song, because in my mind, at least, melody is not that hard to do. You can come up with melodies pretty quickly and pretty easily. It's building the rest of the song around the melody that's the hard part of composing. It's hard to come up with something from scratch. Usually great ideas come from when you're not making music. Yeah. And that's totally healthy and normal. And that's why most composers will have the memos of folders of their phone full of them humming hundreds of random melodies that they just came to their head, right? So I mean, that's one method. I'll start with the melody and then I'll build from there. Sometimes pretty rarely, but sometimes I'll do chord-based composing, where I'll come up with the chord progression and then I'll put a melody on top of it. That way is honestly, if you're good with chords, which I am not, if you're good with chords, that's a really easy formulaic way of writing music, because you can just bang out a bunch of chord progressions, and then from there the melodies kind of tell you what it wants to be based on the chords, right? The melody can kind of just come out organically. It makes things a lot easier for you. I said that's an easy way of composing. I didn't mean that's an easy way of composing. That's a way of making melody, I think, easier, right? If you have a chord structure is what I meant. Sometimes I'll start with bass, right? Actually pretty commonly I'll start with bass, because especially like if you're writing epic music, starting with bass is a pretty good idea, actually. So like something like double bass short, quick up and down is fine. Lower than that. It's a really generic, like, pattern. Right, so that's a little pattern right there. And you can make a whole song off of that, right? Let's do that really quickly. 140, too fast. I can't play that. I can't. I'm changing it a little bit. Okay, I simplified it a little bit, but there's a pattern. My things are all messed up because I have my setup kind of weird, because I had to move my keyboard over. So my navigator is way over here. Loop it, boom. And now let's do like, I'm just gonna use what's open. I want staccato. I want staccato cellos is what I want. Let's do staccato cellos. I want cellos, and I want them to be staccato, and I want them to play chords. Oh yeah, you won't be able to hear that. Well, actually, if you can't hear the bass, what I'll do is I will double it on the cellos and bring it up an octave. Boo -doo -boo -boo -boo. Actually, C1's probably going to be fine. That's not staccato. Give me staccato. I hate when this does this. This program's annoying. I can fix this. I know why it's doing this. Let me fix it. Right click. I need to go right click. I need to go articulation, staccato. There we go. Also, it keeps grabbing the modulation, so what I'm gonna do is don't mind me, just do that. Now it'll be fixed. And now we want our that's fine. Give myself a little bit of a lead in. Oh, and I need to also set the modulation. Here we go. This will work now. There's some funky chords in there, but I don't care. That's life. Life is funky chords. There's no such thing as a wrong chord. Oops. I offset that. Come here, navigator thing. And sure. Let's have that loop, and then let's also do let's do like, I don't know, like drums or something. I want these drums, and I want them to be like I want like a rock kit. I want like ribeye. That sounds cool. Pattern for there. Normally I do these at the same time, but I'm kind of in an awkward sitting position. That's kind of hard. Boom, there's drums. Very shitty, simple drums. I'm gonna put a compressor on them. Wants a compressor? Don't worry about it. It's outside of the scope of this right now. Sure, that one right there. I want it like that. I want like that. I want like that. I forgot to loop the drums. Bada boom. Sure, that melody's fine. Also, I don't want to loop those like that. I want to do like, I want to loop the second half of those drums like that. Right? How does this? Yeah. I'm using the modulation wheel thing that we talked about earlier, remember, to make the strings a little more expressive. I'm going to take this, I'm going to double it up an octave. Actually, I'm going to double it up an octave the second time it plays, though. to give us a little bit more interest. And we double it again, and that's the lowest this can play. Not very low. I'll take one of these then. And set it to 16. Sure. Sure, that sounds bad, but sure. I just did a little cello counter melody right here. And I would want to double this with French horn because it just feels like French horn should be there. Boom, boom, boom. I don't have French horn on this one. Okay. I'll do trombone then, I guess. Even though trombones are not a substitute for French horn. French horn's gotta be French horn when it's French horning. Let's do French horn. When you got a craving for French horn, it needs to be. Except no substitute. Browse. Symphonic orchestra, brass, 6 French horns. I want like that one. So, you know, how long was that? Like 15, 10 minutes? So just, you can, what I was kind of trying to show there is you can kind of just spit out stuff. You can try to just vomit out things and you can make a song. This is not a good song, but from here, I have an idea, right? I have a little melody with a little cool counter melody. And then from there, I can make it better, right? I'd be like, this is my little sample of what this song I want it to be, and then I can go back and make better decisions, make it more complex, well, not necessarily more complex, because more complex doesn't necessarily mean better, but build it out more and do more with it, right? It's just another example of a way I started with bass, right? I could have started with drums. I could have started with melody. I could have just played this and been like, yeah, sure. I could have started with that. Without the drums. So, I guess what my point, what's the point of all that? I guess what my point of that is that it's really not that hard to come up with ideas, but so stop telling yourself that it's hard to come up with ideas, because I think a lot of people psych themselves out and they're like, it's so hard to come up with ideas. Like, there's a million different ways you can approach a song, and don't worry too much about the right way to start and the right way to go about it. Just kind of like do things, right? Maybe start with the melody, maybe start with bass, maybe do chords, maybe look at a picture online and be like, how does this make me feel? What vibes do I want to do? Maybe do synth. There's a whole different approach with synthesizers where it's like, maybe you just start messing with sound design and you find a sound that you like and then you go from there, right? Like, maybe I want to be like, something like, what's a good one? Like Cosmic Layers, one. Maybe I just want to mess with this, you know? What does it sound like with higher attack? Bad. Okay, so now I've come across this sound, right? I could build a whole thing off of this, right? Just off this, right? Oh, cool. Really fun, just kind of... You know, you can... That's another approach of just you mess with sound design until... These are all ARPs. I want like a pad, right? Like it's such a beautiful... You could have this inspire you to do a whole song easily, right? Oh, wait, no, not that. Not like that. Wait a second. So this, I'm just kind of just showing you an example of how a lot of what my writing sessions end up being is you just stumble across something that you like and you just mess with it, right? And you just look for ideas. Like there was a little idea in there that I liked that was kind of the, let me see if I can remember it. Let's see. Not like that. Maybe like... I'm just trying to find a melody with my right hand and chords with my left hand at the same time, you know, kind of. I see a Skelety. Thanks for stopping by. I hope I was able to answer a couple of your questions. Yeah, so you'll just like, just let yourself just have fun. Sorry, I hiccuped up right there. That's in my throat. Have fun and just get lost in your just noodling. I like noodling. Not everybody likes to compose this way. But like I said, you can start the bass, you can start the cello, drums, melody. You can start with some synths. You can have an idea in your head. You can get out a piece of paper and draw out a score. You could do all kinds of stuff, right? But that was a bit of a long sidetrack. Let's delete all this. Bye-bye music. You're gone. And get back to... So we went over a little bit about pitch bend, which is not that useful. Vibrato, which is... vibrato is usually built into your plugin, but you can... Sometimes there'll be a vibrato amount, which you can mess with. You can... we went over a little bit with attack times, right? When you do a more slower, intimate bit of strings, you maybe want a longer attack to kind of build into it. And then the most important thing was the modulation and expression playing, right? Which is... No, I don't want staccato. I want the difference between this and this. Versus. It's just the volume, right? Makes a difference in making it sound a lot more organic. And that takes a lot of just, honestly, just practice. And it's like learning an instrument, right? Learning your sampler and learning how your MIDI keyboard reacts to it with its modulation, MIDI CC1, and its expression, MIDI CC11, are like learning an instrument. And every sampler performs differently. But that's a big way of making things sound more real. And if you don't have a MIDI keyboard, like if you're on an iPad, for example, there may be ways for you can write in modulation. I'll do that real quick. Let's do a little example. I'll add cello to a part that you don't have any in, so you can hear it. I don't like that line, but we're going to use it. So we're going to pencil in the modulation because maybe you don't have access to a MIDI keyboard. You don't have access to modulation that way. So, but you can definitely pencil it in. A good way of doing it is, what's kind of cool with Logic is I have this white line here, which gives me a reference of where my pencil cursor is. So I'd be like, okay, I want to start low and I want to ease into the note. I want to, you know, I like to kind of dip between the notes a little bit. You don't have to do it between every note. Maybe this is going to be a climactic part, so you're going to bring the volume up, and then it's a held note, so you're going to bring the modulation down, which is pretty typical for held notes. Maybe this one's going to kind of waver like this. This one's going to go down. And like that. We're going to fade out there. So before we had... kind of thing, right? So I just drew this in, right? I don't know if it's gonna sound good. I think it'll sound fine, but let's listen. I'm gonna exaggerate it a little more because I'm used to them being a little less sensitive. This one's not, or a little more sensitive. This one's not very sensitive. Let's see. It's basically automating volume. Yes and no. I did a whole like kind of spiel on this before, but there are two MIDI CC values, which are MIDI continuous control values. And the two that you want to look at when you're doing string samplers are usually going to be either modulation, which is MIDI CC1, which is what I'm on right now, right? I went into my modulating thing and I let it, I went to MIDI CC1, and also MIDI CC11, which is expression, right? And these do a similar thing. Sometimes modulation doesn't work, right? But almost always expression works. Not always, but almost always expression works. So try modulation first, because it's usually better programmed. If it doesn't work, then try MIDI CC11, which is expression, or try both at the same time, which is actually the best way to do it. But I don't usually bother because like can't be bothered to do two. And it does modulate the volume, but it's modulating the volume of the sampler itself. It's not modulating. It's not modulating the track's volume at all, right? You don't really want to do that. You could, if you have no other option, you could. But yeah, try using MIDI CC1 and MIDI CC11, because that's kind of what they're for, is this, right? And it's the most important part of making strings sound natural and practicing. And you know what you're gonna have to do is then sit here and mess with these and adjust them and be like, I need this to come in quicker. I need this to do this. And the main goal is you never want a held note to just sit there, right? If you've got a held note, you want it to be vibratoing, right? The pitch, you want it to be wavering with a vibrato. You want it to be maybe fading out. You maybe want it to be the volume to be increasing. You maybe want the volume to be tremoloing, which is like, there's an exaggerated tremolo, right? Right. So when you have a versus, wrong note, but see, modulate in, get quieter and louder. Versus no modulation. It still sounds okay, but it's volume's important. And it's a major part of how strings work and how strings sound good, because they have a lot of controls. Not controls. Yeah. So did you have any specific questions, Jay? I know we may have answered some of them if you go back and check the VOD later. But if you want to ask any specific questions, just let me know, and I'll see what I can do. In the meantime, I'll listen to it. EQing. I did a little bit of EQing earlier of the piano. I really liked your Bit Crush, but I thought that there was some kind of some frequencies I personally didn't like for taste. This one here, right? I cut it out a little bit. This one here. And then I added a little more of these because I liked how this sounded, right? Pretty simple, right? EQ, don't be intimidated by EQ. So like without it. And then I think it's just a little smoother with it, engaging it now. The biggest thing about EQ, like, I can't teach you how to EQ because my ears are different and what I like is going to be different. But the most important thing with EQ is don't be afraid of it. Just do it. Like, you can't be afraid of messing it up when EQing, right? Just start messing with it, right? You can mess it, but you can't mess it up. You know, maybe you want really crispy high end, right? It's a little harsh on the ears, but it's not a wrong decision, right? There is no wrong decision. Maybe you want really muffled far away sound and you want to cut out all these, right? You know, whatever. Actually, just as an exercise, I'm gonna do 2 EQs and I'm gonna do 2 totally different EQs with totally different focuses and characters. I've never done this before, but I want like a really warm one. I want one that sounds more distorted, right? But not, I don't want it to be ugly. I don't want the distortion to be too like in your face. So I'm gonna get rid of all this because this is a lot of like clarity. 1K is like your radio-y sounding frequency. Not a whole lot going on down here that I can hear. A little bit of boost here so we don't lose too much. Alright, I think that's fine. So listen, so these are two totally, we have 3 basically, because we've got your EQ. And then we have my first EQ, which I was trying to make it a little smoother. And give it a little more presence in the middle. And then my third EQ, which is trying to make it more kind of warm and dull at the same time. Right? Totally different EQ. And it's different, right? I wouldn't probably go with this one, but there's nothing wrong with it. Yours is better, how you had it already. And you know, this is an option too. And you can do that. You can just throw a bunch of EQs on and just start cutting them, right? And putting them on. Difference with headphones. Yeah, because these are not super they're subtle. They're not subtle, so subtle that you won't be able to hear them pretty easily with headphones, but they're subtle enough that you probably can't hear them on phone speakers. Do you have any other things specifically? I do. EQ is usually a pretty heavy focus of all of these streams, and it will probably always be, just because EQing is so important. It's like the cornerstone to mixing, in my opinion. You know, it's like, it's your paintbrush, right? So I'm always going to be doing a lot of EQing in these streams. So EQing is one of those things that you just got to practice and just do it. And again, the number one most important thing for EQ, I'd say, is don't be afraid of it. Harmonica. I remember thinking it was kind of harsh. Why did you put the harmonica on a different channel specifically? I think the performance of the harmonica sounds good though. Let's EQ it. I'm doing something I shouldn't. I'm EQing it solo. My EQ's... What's wrong with my EQ? The buttons are... Oh, there they are. That's weird. Is it a live recorded one? I mean, it's not a harmonica, I don't think. Is it? It sounds like a, melodica. I think, composition-wise... There's some kind of funky-ish chords going on here with the harmonica and the main. I don't think these are bad, per se, choices, these chords with the harmonica. It doesn't really feel like the chord choices and the choices with all this stuff are really like syncing together that well. It feels like the harmonica is doing its thing and then this is doing its thing. Also, you don't really have a resolution here. Like that, I really want that to go down, right? It doesn't have to, but I think I can probably find a melodica in here somewhere. Toy melodica. Sure, that's kind of close. Right, I really wanted to go down to C there. Hey Hazel, how's it going? Lovely to see you hopping in. Right, see, I really want this to go down to C there, right? But yeah, great to see you, man. Let's explore some different options though, because you don't have to resolve it to C. That's the most obvious choice. That's what I would do. That's a very Zephy kind of thing to do, is to resolve it and then bring it down a half step. I do that a lot. And then I'd fade that out, right? Let's try. I'd fade it out, right? Or like I said, let's explore some different options. I think that's a perfectly fine resolution too. Or you can make it a little bit more spicy with like a... Just fade that out. What's a different one? I like that. That leads really nicely into the next one. That one's a little unorthodox, but it kind of works. You know, there's all kinds of different options. Yeah. Ooh. A nice counter melody. That's a cool little counter melody. So you, where was that? That was here. I love me some counter melody. So here's what you had. Really nice. Really nice. Oh, I can hear the mixing there. I really liked your runs you did there. Brada, brada, with the grace notes. And then we got... change it. There we go. Change that one now. That one's kind of funky too. How's this? Yeah, that makes way more sense. So that was just me trying to encourage you to maybe play with some counter melodies too. Although you kind of have a bit of a counter melody going on with the what is that? What is that bell instrument? Is it like a toy xylophone? Really cool on headphones. You have it, I can hear it swirling around left and right. It's swirling around your head, the xylophone. So I can pick that out with EQ. No, the this guy. I think it's xylophone, right? Oh, toy piano, huh? Sounds very xylophone-y. And it sounds like you have two pianos there too. Right here, dun dun dun. So you already have a lot of counter melodies actually already in here, probably plenty. Oh, I guess I can look at the MIDI too, even though it'll sound bad because it just auto-assigned. Oh yeah, it's all messed up. Oh, I made it slower. That's why. There we go. Wait, let's actually assign this to a toy piano. What are these supposed to be? Not brass, I don't think. Let's make them like the pre-assigned MIDI is kind of butchering this, but so you have the oh, I see. Yeah, you're doubling the piano and the strings. That's a good choice, I think. What's supposed to be going on here? I'm gonna put a different string on this. You're doing mostly staccato. Sure, French horn. French horn really goes well with lower strings, cellos and viola. This is a little aggressive of French horn, but also you don't resolve the ending. right? You don't go down to the C. Which is fine. You don't have to resolve a song. Yeah, don't sleep on French horns, man. French horns and cellos are like a match made in heaven. They make things sound a lot either more like grand and like pompous, or they're great in anything epic. I don't really like generic resolutions. I kind of left it unfinished. Again, you totally can leave it unfinished, but I think anytime you leave a song unfinished like this, you should have a reason for it. And if it's like your artistic vision, then that's a perfectly valid reason. But if you just don't want to think of an ending and you don't want to just end on, you know, like a C, then try experimenting with some different endings then. Like, what are some really weird ideas we can do? Like, what if we end it with a question, right? Something like that. It's a little controversial. This is a good exercise, actually, is thinking of different endings, because it's kind of hard, actually. I'm trying to avoid the C. I don't want to resolve it. Ooh, I kind of like that. On a different plugin, but where'd my toy piano go? I like that ending. Because it still doesn't resolve. It's still not traditional. It's not as good, but... That one, I like that one too. That sounded like some Kikuo stuff. Why do I like melodica and toy piano so good together? I need the melodica to be faster attack. Does it have, where's my attack? Or can I make the toy piano slower instead? No, I lose the... there it is. It's not gonna help too much. Oh, that is a little faster. Think of like a Kikuo bassline. This little melody was like a total Kikuo transition. Yep. Yep. And then he'd do, what would he do after that? He would do like a... Can you export stuff like this into a direct wave? What the heck's a direct wave? I'm just messing with it now. It sounds like, what's it sound like really low? Oh. Dude, the Vocaloid VO. That's beyond my expertise. What is chopsticks again? Like, what's the first note of chopsticks? C? It's like dun 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 dun. Is it bad that I don't know chopsticks? What is it? It's like dun 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 dun. It's gotta be all white notes. FG? Is it FG? Yeah. F, G, E, G, D, G? Oh! Yeah. You're right. I didn't realize it was FG. That's so weird. Wow. Ta-da! If I actually want to make this, how do I replicate the sound like this? It's just a toy piano and a toy melodica. The forbidden chord. Tritone, right? The devil, I'm summoning him. Where's the devil? I think FG's tritone, right? What is tritone? C and F. C and F? Really? Doesn't sound that bad. Oh, C and F sharp. C and F sharp. The devil! The devil! The devil! Fun. I will not play the lick. Oh, I don't know how to play the lick on piano. You can play it in any key, right? Yeah. There you go. Oh my god, why am I so bad? Now in every key! No. Oh, wait, what is it in this one? Sounds like an instrument from a Rugrats soundtrack? How dare you? I'm calling the devil on you. Devil! Okay, I think I'm going a little crazy. Maybe it is the devil. Maybe he's real. Something's crashed. Probably Logic. Logic, don't crash. Okay, it's back. But yeah, this sound is oh, there goes Logic. A deep bell. Yeah, it's really cool when you take instruments that aren't supposed to be deep and you make them deep, right? Oh, and you can hear the melodica. Hear that, like. Ooh. Super low melodica. Sounds like a N64, like spooky boss. Like Ben Drowned, like Pokemon stuff. Okay, I'm sorry, I just said Ben Drowned Pokemon. I know Ben Drowned's not in Pokemon. I guarantee you can recreate the sound pretty easily. Just get whatever your harmonica is, and then get your toy piano, and just play them at the same time. I'm gonna play my favorite song that I've written on it for piano. It's gonna sound really funky. God, it sounds so not romantic. Well, it's not romantic, but it's like, I don't know, the song's kind of like melancholic. What if I just layer more? Now it sounds like some kid's show. Postman Pat had to deliver a letter. To Satan. Teletubbies. Good morning. In hell. All right. I think I'm just getting more and more. I don't even remember what my topic was anymore. A lot of letters from lawyers. This piano sounds really bad. Ta-da! I should probably end stream now, it's 8:30. Man, this piano does not sound very good. And then the silly sound rabbit hole. See, this is how I write music, though. I just sit here for hours and just mess around. Although I haven't really been writing a whole lot lately. I've been... I don't know, Heart and Soul, isn't it like... what's the first note? Okay. Remember, melody is something like... Oh, the melody's really... Let's see. Ah! Ah! Oh my god, my left and right coordination is so bad. I can't do the left hand and right hand right now. It's been so long since I played piano. The melody is so easy. The Sephi whale. Oh no, I have no idea what that sounds like. Oh my god, I can't play it. Okay, I think this is a sign that I need to start practicing piano again. It's been literally like 2 years since I actually like did anything besides like string writing on piano. I'm gonna have to ban Ben from this chat just because he plays piano and I don't want him hearing this. It's too bad. Piano isn't like riding a bike. Both hands separate, not together. Yeah. That sounds pretty easy. Gosh. Also doesn't help that I don't have a pedal. Nope. You know what will make this sound better immediately? The thing that makes everything sound better immediately. Reverb. Hello. I am Reverb. I'm here to save everything. This is the concert hall reverb? Am I on the wrong channel? What's going on here? I am on the wrong channel. Whoops. Let me pull it over. Anyway, here's Wonderwall. Oh, now it's so atmospheric. Yeah, you're just helping me now. Yeah. Piano stream. 2-hour stream of me playing scales. Oh no. Trying to do with proper fingering technique actually. 1, 2, 3 under 1, 2, 3, 4 1, 2, 3 over under 1, 2 1, 2, 3, 4 1, 2, 3, 4 5 over 1, 2, 3, 4 5 over 1, 2 no 1, 2, 3, 4 5 over 1, 2 3 2 1 2 over 3. Oh my gosh. You know it's bad when I'm even struggling with scales. There we go. How do you practice chords like this? I only ever do arpeggio and scale practice. Chords. So last time we did the 0 major scale, and the next stream we're gonna do the B major scale. I said 0, not C. Alright, now what comes after C, we're gonna add 1 sharp. That will make the G scale. Yippee! After the G scale, we have the D scale, which has 2 sharps. Perfect. Yippee! After the D scale, we have the A scale, which has 3 sharps, 4 sharps. First try every time. After the A scale, we have the E scale, which has 4 sharps. Also? No, this one has 4 sharps. Can you tell my music theory is really rusty? Okay, I got it right, but I was very... No! 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 Why? Ta-da! But who needs scales when you can have the Unison MIDI chord pack? Brought to you by our sponsor, Unison MIDI chord pack. Why learn piano scales or simply looking at a picture of a scale online and copying it when you can have a folder that's just full of a bunch of MIDI scales that you can drag and drop, that you could totally just figure out very easily and just draw in with your pencil? But why do that when you could instead pay Google Unison MIDI chord pack? When you could instead pay $50 on sale? $50 for C? $50? Brought to you by the Unison MIDI chord pack. It's literally just a folder with a bunch of MIDI chords in it. Do you guys ever... I don't think... So, the background to that, slight possession by Satan himself. Unison used to sponsor like a bunch of music YouTubers, and it would always be, or like even they'd have commercials too. Like, so you'd be like watching a video about music, and then bam, commercial pre-roll. Unison MIDI chord pack. I can learn music in 0.3 negative seconds. I learned music yesterday, and I didn't even know it because of the Unison MIDI chord pack. And it's literally just a folder full of just chords, and it's like you can just Google them in 2 seconds. People are just like, I don't know. Oh, Tantacruel made a video about it. 21-minute video. That's too long to watch right now. Let's look at a Unison MIDI chord pack ad. So
even if you don't know chords at all, you don't know anything about music theory like me, this is perfect for you.
That's me.
And this is super good for you, especially if you like struggle with making melodies, chords, stuff like that.
I've been messing around with it quite a lot, and like I'll give you an example. Like, you gotta hear how good this sounds.
Hell yeah.
The Unison
Two
MIDI
whole
chord pack.
MIDI chord
chords.
pack. And I was actually kind of blown away when I first opened it.
This has over 1,200 MIDI files that can help you make chord progressions.
It's essentially a chord pack with loads and loads.
I thought, like, you're making it harder for yourself.
Every chord is organized by triads, extended chords,
My
borrowed
God,
and
Monkey,
modal
hey!
chords, and my favorite
Thanks for
tab,
stopping by. We're
progressions.
just roasting Unison MIDI chord pack.
Oh damn!
Whoa, he
And
did
it's
a
literally like
2-5-1.
playing with Lego, playing with building blocks and building the chord progression that way.
And spend time exploring chords, exploring chord progressions, and not worrying about music theory. I can focus on the emotion and how the chord progression makes me feel, not the notes I'm using or how to play them.
Yeah, and you can still change the preset you're using. You're not stuck with
They're
what
not
a
presets,
certain
it's just
loop
files.
maker has done with a certain sample.
Also, just in case you didn't know, if you click the link in the description, you can get this entire pack for 60% off.
Get this for 60% off, and it also comes with a few
60%
bonuses
off.
like some cool serum presets and even a guide on how to use MIDI files and chords
So,
and all that good stuff.
You
I can
get 60%
see
off right now with this extra.
I can see this being useful for people. And this isn't me being like, oh man, like, if you can't know chords, you're dumb, because I don't know chords. Chords are hard. Chords are really hard. Not for everybody. They're hard for me. They're hard for a lot of people. But you can literally just like be like, no, not Google Forms. You can literally just like Google chord progression and like, there you go. Like, here we go. Here's a 145 CFG, DGA, FB flat C. I know FB flat. Yeah, FB flat F. B flat C. GCD, GCD, ADE, and then just like put those in. Like instead of paying $60 for like a 251, which is like, ta-da! Write that down. And like, the thing about chord progressions is like, you can't copyright a chord progression. So you can literally just steal chord progressions because there's not that many. Like, there's only so many options. I don't usually steal chord progressions because I don't write, what's the opposite of linear? Chordally? The chords they don't want you to know. That would be the tritone. The devil. Now also the C7 add 9 flat 9 flat 13. No, flat where's the flat 13? Flat 13. Not the C major 7 flat 9 flat 13. Anything but that. A very Jacob Collier chord. You know what? Oh yeah, the sus chord. How do I do a sus chord? I raise the 4th? Yeah, C sus 4. Sus. What else? Let's do like a, not like a, anything but a E flat minor 6 sharp 9 13. E flat 7 sharp 9 13. How about an E flat 7 flat 9 sharp 9 13? Yeah, so this is why I don't write chordally, because it gets too nerdy and I don't like it. Like, whoa. I don't even know what this is. This says it's a D, no 3, 7, 9, flat 5? What the heck? It's kind of cool. What the heck is that symbol? A flat 0, 5? This chord slaps though. Cool. Ow, my thumb now hurts because my hands aren't that big. Note's too far away. He boot too big for he damn feet. No, he shoot too big. He boot too big? He boot too big for he goddamn feet. You know what I mean? Do you ever just, he boot too big for he goddamn feet? He boot too big for he goddamn feet. He boot too big for he goddamn feet. Oh, he boot too big for he goddamn feet. He boot too big for he goddamn feet. He boot too big for he goddamn feet. You know what I mean? You ever get that feeling? I think I should go to bed now. I think I should drink some water. Go to bed. I think I should take Benadryl. EP time. Yes. Well, now that that's over with, I think it's bedtime. Well, going to bed. Well, no, I'm gonna go take a shower and like maybe look for dinner. Nah, I'm not gonna eat food. And then like, I don't know, watch TV or something for a minute and then go to bed. I think I should go to bed now and stream. Yeah, I thought about that. I did. Zephy delirious, Zephy mysterious. When the Zephy ends a stream, can the Zephy be serious? But yeah, I can't look at this chicken anymore. He boot really too big. You know what I mean? Okay. I need to stop. I need to stop now. Thank you for coming to stream. Thank you for being at stream. We will do this again next week, probably. What are we gonna do next week? We could do more submissions. I was thinking of next week maybe doing a Q&A, a music Q&A. Like putting up a... Do I want to put up a marshmallow? I don't know if I want to put up a marshmallow. Maybe I'll put up a marshmallow and see if people want to abolish the government. Yeah. Happy to catch it. Yeah. Thank you for coming by, monkey. Oh wait, I should be. Wait, check this out. Now that more people are here, look at this. Look. Wow. Now that I'm just chatting, I should be on the just chatting screen. Abolish the government. We could do that in Stellaris. Wednesday is Music Wednesday, though. I gotta do something music related on Wednesday. I should have done this on Monday. Why is Monday not Music Monday? Oh, I'm doing other stuff on Mondays. Woozic Monday. Yeah, I was thinking, yeah, maybe a Q&A, or I could just do more submissions. I have more submissions. I only went through like one today, so. Music Wednesday, sure, what the heck, yeah. Music Wednesday. All right, well, thank you for coming to Music Wednesday, everybody. I hope you have a wonderful morning / evening / afternoon / night. And I hope to see you again next week. We will be doing a very special stream on Friday, which is 2 days from now, which will be with Lunari from Twitter.com. We will be talking about Milgram, which is a it's a Vocaloid. No, it's not Vocaloid. There's Vocaloid producers that work on it, but it's like a interactive music project where like people vote on if the singers are guilty and should be executed or something like that, I think. I don't really know a whole lot about it. I've heard some of the songs from it, but Lunary knows about it, and she's going to be lecturing on it. So if that sounds interesting, if voting on executing J-pop musicians sounds interesting, then you're welcome to come and join. We will not be abolishing the government on Friday, I'm afraid. That's going to have to wait for January, or maybe another month. But yeah, everybody have a good night. I'm going to end the stream now. Oh, but before I end the stream, or rather while I end the stream, we're going to get another transition. Here we go. Ready? And then I'm going to leave because my microphone will turn off when I do the transition. So goodbye.